In this episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, Universal pulls all of his music from TikTok. Who's going to win right now? Is TikTok going to win with no music from Universal with all the hits being gone? Or is Universal going to be able to get them to negotiate a fair deal for the artists and songwriters? And also, we're talking about Hit Boy saying that producers still ain't getting paid. Producers like himself is not getting paid and can't get in touch with the artists that he's working with, that he's giving hits to. We want to talk about that today. Come on, keep up.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Drama D.
And together we make this super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If you ain't never been here, man, make sure that you are liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, making sure that you're following us on all social media. These episodes are brought to you by our books. Make sure you're checking those out on the website at arkatechbeatz.com. So check this out, man. I wake up on Friday. TikTok going crazy. Saying all of the big records, or the big artists rather, are missing off of the platform. Can't use them as sounds anymore. And if you had them as a sound on your video, it was muted. Right?
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about Drake, Taylor Swift, Lil Wayne, Lil Baby, right? All these people who are signed to Universal can't use none of their sounds. Everything is banned. It's gone.
And this is just Universal.
This is just Universal music. Now, of course, this is a very big deal in a lot of sense, right? We're talking about Def Jam artists. We're talking about all Kanye West, everything, right?
Yeah.
Now, what Universal is trying to say to them, they're trying to say that that TikTok is having an unwillingness to appropriately compensate artists and songwriters and protect human artists from the harmful effects of AI and address online safety issues. I say bullshit.
I think they want a bigger piece of the pie, and they are not getting it.
I totally agree with that. I believe that they want some sort of equity share in TikTok, like how they have in Spotify.
Yep.
That's what I think they want here, because they know this is going to become a streaming platform in the future, and they're trying to set themselves up so where they can have an equity share in this situation. What I think they're going to do, I think whoever is the CEO of Universal, you're going to lose your job behind this. Because what you're going to find out is that platform is a music discovery platform. And what it's going to do is going to basically shift toward independent artists. And it's not going to need you.
Wow. We already have a mass exodus that's not appreciating these streaming platforms and what they're doing, you know. And a lot of people are doing the direct to consumer, you know, boutique, come to my website, personal, you know. So we're already in an environment, an atmosphere where folks don't really, especially artists, they're not really feeling the streaming platform. So for Universal to jump and go ahead and do this, it's like another nail in the coffin, if you ask me.
Listen, in the past few days, I've discovered so much new music. I've discovered a lot of good music on TikTok in the last few days. I was just playing some with my family earlier today. Like, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. Music that probably wouldn't have got no run because it was competing with the major label artists.
Because Universal got its own artists out the way.
Thank you. How dumb is that? Tell me, how dumb is that? How do you have a dispute to where you pull all of the music from the #1 music discovery platform that exists right now? How do you do that? That doesn't make sense.
Do we have
what you're supposed to do? Is you're supposed to let it ride, extend your negotiations, but you're never supposed to take a hard nosed stance like that to the point where you're gonna pull your music from a platform like TikTok. Are you kidding?
So is there any details to what the exact negotiation is as far as percentages, or is there anything saying what exactly it is that made them decide that that's it, that we're taking a hard stand on that? Is it a percentage actual? Is it whatever cuts, whatever?
It's saying,
Because man, that's a pretty hard stance to take, man. And it's like,
it's
how
a
long has
statement
how
of,
long how long have they been negotiating and it can't get to it? And Jug, let me ask you something. Is a TikTok a Chinese based company?
say,
Hmm.
so they say.
So
So here it says, Universal's latest comments is basically, it says on the statement, right? A spokesperson said that the company's agreement with TikTok expired because of TikTok's unwillingness to approve the artists and songwriters, right? We said that already. And then it says here that it's followed by an official statement that TikTok put out that Universal Music has put their own greed above the interests of their artists and songwriters. TikTok added, despite Universal's false narrative and rhetoric, the fact is that they have chosen to walk away from a powerful support of a platform with well over 1 billion users, right? That serves as a free promotional and discovery vehicle for their talent. And that's what they're realizing. It's free. It's a free promotional situation for them. Why would you pull that?
right, it's not like Universal is even being charged for it.
Thank you. TikTok has been able to reach artist first agreements with every other label and publisher. Clearly, Universal's self-serving actions are not in the best interest of artists, songwriters, and fans. But we can't get the specifics of it. We're not going to get the specifics of it. But
Yeah.
what it's telling you and me is that if Sony and Warner and these guys can come to an agreement, why can't they come to one?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure like that Universal must have reached out to the other two to kind of see where they were at. To kind of get an idea if what the negotiation, if it's really unreasonable, But here's another part of that though. What about the artists? The artists that signed to those labels, that that's a hit for them.
Absolutely. The artist, that's almost equivalent to, that SAG-AFTRA strike, right? Like the artists that are on a situation and then everything stops. Like all these artists that are on Universal, all of the subsidiaries, just now, if you're a big artist, it's no big deal for you, right? Because you already got your fan base, you can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
But when you're a smaller artist and you depend on this discovery platform, all your music is going to be muted.
Yeah. If you're a new artist signed, or an artist that's still working towards making your way to superstardom, and you're signed, and or you had semi success, a mid-level artist, that relies on something like this to help them, further themselves in their career. I mean, this, to have no say is the worst part. As an artist, imagine waking up and saying, "Yo, your music is gone from this," and having no say. Can these artists turn around and sue the record company?
I think it could come to that. Over time. I think you can have a situation where artists decide to band together and say, "Hey, this is bullshit. We don't want."
Yeah, we didn't agree to this.
Yeah. Because you're in a situation where, again, this is free promotion.
Right.
This is free promotion. Think about this too, right? Suppose I got a bunch of videos that I got like Drake or whatever songs. That's just an illustration. But let's say I got a whole bunch of these songs on my videos already, and all of these videos that I had on TikTok get muted. What do you think I'm going to do to them? I'm going to delete them. I'm going to delete them off my page. I'm not going to keep them there with no sound.
Right. Wow.
So that's another blow again, because these are things that give this is like having your own online street team. Like people are taking your content, reposting it, repurposing your content, taking snippets of your music, adding your music to their lives, and this is the whole promo vehicle of social media. You don't take your music off of that. You don't take your music off of that. And I think what's happening also is that these companies, pardon me, they're not paying enough attention to they're being too strict in terms of, you know, allowing people to repost the content, to promote the content. We've seen a lot of restrictions with that. So I'm like lately, I'm like, how does an artist get a new song traction if you and I can't repost it?
Right.
You can't repost it, then you're basically going to be relegated to having to pay for promotion. Which maybe that's the idea of the label. Maybe the label wants them to pay for the promotion so they can keep the artist in the hole for, you know, for promotion fees. I don't know if that's the case.
I mean, it's a horrible way of doing business. You know, like, you know, there's records out there. There's a lot of things out there that, you know, a producer, an artist, a creative person would like to take and repurpose it, and you know, not necessarily to monetize. Of course, you can't do that, but just for promotional sake, just to be creative, and just for promotional sake, which would help the artists and you know, reach different audiences that they may not have access to, you know, and for them to, you know, remove the records, or on top of that, just say, no, we don't allow this. We're going to be strict with how we do this, and you're not going to allow to repurpose this or remix this or redo this in a way where, you know, more eyes to get on it. It's kind of, it doesn't really make any sense, you know. It's like the label is just hoarding and doesn't want anybody else to do anything with this. They want to do it themselves, and they want to do it the way they want to do it, which is old fashioned, and they want to do it at a certain probably fee or percentage that is just unreasonable.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense anymore. It's not matching up to where technology currently is. So it's like, I'm looking at this in real time. I'm like, okay, they banned the Universal Music artists from TikTok. You don't know. What I'm going to say to a lot of artists now, independent artists, producers, flood TikTok with your music. Now is the time to flood that with your music.
Yeah.
Now is the time to release music.
Because the competition has been removed for the most part.
You've wiped out the largest parts of competition. The competition that you really couldn't compete with because it had the machine behind it.
Yeah.
And now you've wiped that out. So now what's going to happen is that there's supposed to be an influx of people being able to use independent music and sounds. Yep. And also, this is a lesson to content creators too. Don't load up too much of your content with outside sounds. Like, that's also something that, you know, people who are on YouTube, they understand the situation with copyright strikes,
right?
And you know, demonetization. So like, if I do anything, a video, and I decide to use any part of anybody's music, for example, top of the week we had done Value or whatever. Of course, you can't get any. They're gonna demonetize the video immediately,
right?
Because you can't use their music. So people that are on YouTube understand this process of not using other people's music, as it creates this. Even if you're putting commentary on it and you're making it into a piece of work, it's too hard to get YouTube and these guys to capitulate to that. So a lot of people that are on YouTube already know, like, hey, we're not going to flood too much of our content. So for those who was doing it on TikTok, and now this happens, people have to really start thinking about making sure that they use it, or, you know, things of that nature, so that their sounds don't get removed or their videos don't get removed.
Yeah, they got to really be thoughtful and creative about, you know, the type of music that they're using, you know, and there's a lot of places these days that you could get music from. So it's just making sure that you're fully aware of what you're using, and that if it gets taken down, you have a plan B or what you're going to do to kind of just replace that, you know, have a library of music, or just know where to go to get what you need. You know, the thing about creativity, the thing about these streaming platforms, the thing about just making music or any type of art, is when it's time to showcase it, the most difficult thing is putting it on somebody else's platform where you don't have control over it. You know, and then your whole lifestyle is dependent on that. And we spoke about this a lot of times on this podcast, you know, relying on somebody else's platform solely. You know, if you're putting your music up, you're putting up your art, you're putting up anything, any merchandise on somebody else's platform, and you don't have your own thing, your own contact, your own website, your own ways of getting in touch with the consumer, and you just leaving it up to another platform. If they decide for whatever reason that they don't want to promote your joint, they don't want to keep it, they don't like the music, they don't like the art, the fees, they don't like whatever, and they take it down, then what? And this is really a good example on a whole larger scale. Now, artists that's on Universal, they had no say. You know, they just you know, every artist just now missing out on the bag.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
That's like absolutely crazy that they're missing out because of the decision of whatever decision that was.
And some of these artists, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a substantial amount of money. It ain't no pennies. It's a substantial amount. And if artists are set up in their own ecosystem that, you know, every piece of income, you know, I got streaming money goes here, or I got show money going here, or I got this kind of money going here, and you cut that off, you know, it affects an artist. So, you know,
I don't understand. I don't understand, man. I don't understand. I think it's really, again, you're in this situation where I know that Universal wants to make some money. I know that they're trying to negotiate something that's probably bigger because they're probably looking at the fact that they have the big
then what Universal needs to do probably is just and to be honest, Universal, at Sony, Warner, they need to take a page out of these streaming services books. They need to do what YouTube is doing. They need to do what they're doing. They need to possibly open up their own streaming service, and so that they could have their own rules. Universal needs to have their own Universal streaming music service. Sony needs to do the same thing. Simple as that.
Not like this. Not like the money is not there. And the technology is not there.
Yeah. Like it's the same thing, you know, it's the same concept. If Universal, if you don't like what they're doing, then maybe you need to figure out something else. Maybe you need to have your own platform. Because that's where it's going with everything else. From Netflix
it's not
to it all.
right. So I was about to go there. Like, it's not like they're not doing it already. If you don't want Disney Plus, you go to Paramount Plus, or you go to Peacock,
Right.
Remember, like,
and most people have a subscription to a couple of things that they like, whether it's Amazon Prime, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, you know, so forth. So maybe that's something they need to consider if they don't like it.
I would say, I'm gonna put this out there for the independent artists and producers. Time to come up. Time to put some things out there. See if you can capitalize off of this situation. We don't know how long it's gonna last. If it goes beyond another month, if it goes beyond 30, maybe 60 days, it's a wrap. They don't need that music.
I can't see it going that far, man. They gotta.
If it goes beyond 30 days, it's a wrap. They're gonna say keep your music, because if they don't see any drop in user engagement,
Right.
if they don't see that happening, if they see a rise in more independent artists blowing up, that's also too another thing that that Universal may not be thinking about is that this is a discovery platform for new artists. If new artists start to blow up now because of this little situation with Universal, all right? Now these artists start to pop off independently. and you're Universal and you want to sign these artists,
Nope.
they're not signing to you.
Can't. You can't.
They're not signing to you. So that's another problem of now acquiring new talent. That you look like the old dinosaur that doesn't want to be on TikTok. So now when it's time for you to acquire new talent, and that's part of the situation, folks may say that, nah, we're gonna go to Sony and these guys because we don't have the problem with TikTok, and that's why I was discovered. So it's not a smart game to play right now.
Yeah, somebody.
I think they should have found a way to kind of mitigate the situation in the background, you know, without it becoming public. And once it starts to happen, it's like, you know, it's not a good look at all. You know, that's what's going to be for right now. I want to switch gears. Universal, get it together. But I want to switch gears to this Hit Boy thing, man. I see this article in Complex, all right? And I want to put it on the screen so people, because this is really aggravating for me. And I'm put this here real
quick. Yeah.
Hit Boy goes off about producers not getting paid, even for hits. The producer said he doesn't want to deal with artists who mistreat producers and their skills. Now, this is something that you and I have been talking about extensively for the last 2 years. When we started this platform, it was a sounding board for this issue specifically. We said that there was a lack of respect for producers in the music industry. Those people who saw that Kanye West documentary that was on Netflix a few years back, it was blatant and apparent that even after he had produced portions of the classic album, The Blueprint, he still couldn't get respect within the Def Jam office. This is right before the man started to do College Dropout. And he still couldn't get the respect of anybody in this office. What I'm trying to understand and what I want to ask you today, you know, my partner, my cousin, like, what the fuck is the problem with people giving respect to the producers for basically creating the culture that all of us is riding in right now?
Yeah, I'm completely lost when it comes to that. You know, I spend a lot of time like really thinking about some of these things, you know, and to the point where I even question, is it a genre thing? You know, do they do this in other genres of music, pop, classical, whatever, you know? And not for nothing, now that I think about it even more, we never, as producers or DJs, and I'm gonna extend to DJs because they're producers as well. You know, we never got the respect because from the beginning we were never considered musicians. You know, and so from the other genres, it was like, if you're not a musician, then there's no category for you. They had to make hip hop. They had to make a category for us. You know, even on, you know, certain contracts and, you know, even things that you sign up for, whether it was the Grammys and things like that back in the day, there was no producer column. It would say musician, it would say artist, it would say musician. You know, it would say man. There's certain things they would say, and it would not say producer. Producer was never like a thing. It was just a DJ, barely even a DJ. DJ wasn't even in the category itself either. So I don't think we ever got the respect. You know, I think they look at you and say, "Hey, are you a musician?" "No, I'm a producer." "So you don't play an instrument?" "No, I sequence. I use a drum machine." You know, and musicians would look down on producers because of that. So I don't think we really got the respect from outside our culture. And then coming into the culture, I just think there's a whole lot of layers going along with it. Meaning it's oversaturated right now. It's the music has not elevated. There's producers are not doing enough. You know, there's just so many layers to it. When you have so many producers widely available and the entry position is low, you know, artists don't care. I'll just grab this one. I'll just grab that one. You know what I'm saying?
A producer like Hit Boy, who really is on his way to become legendary status, right? He, you know, how can he still be experiencing?
Experiencing some of the same things.
Yeah, I just don't. It's disrespectful, man. And you know, it's really aggravating to me. And I know people gonna, you know, hey, you in your feelings. Yeah, I'm in my feelings because I've been in some of these rooms. We've been in some of these rooms, and you know, there has been times when artists would want to try certain things with you when you in the room, and you got to kind of you know, let them understand like, hey, I'm not really that on that type of time. And I think I wonder if that's really some of the issue why, you know, because we're dealing with a lot of a street genre, right? An urban genre, you know, genre of music, where there are like ways that for us in this particular culture, ways that we kind of gain respect, or you know, we gain this respect through aggression,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm trying to figure out if this is where the disconnect is. This is why, you know, guys sometimes feel that they can just walk over the artists or walk over the producers rather, take the music, exploit the music, go on tour, go to strip clubs, do all of this, don't pay the producers. Like, come on, man. And
I
what the
think,
producer's asking for in a lot of times in the large scheme of things is like a fraction of what you're earning.
yeah, I think that's part of it. But the disrespect doesn't even stop there. It goes all the way to the label as well.
Yeah.
Because hey, you are trying to get paid, and they either number one lowballing you, or they send you some shitty contract, or they don't even respond to your calls, emails, or you know, like how do you put out projects and you still haven't paid the producers? You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't even make sense. Is projects out and about for months, in some cases years, and the producer still hasn't been paid?
I wanna let's circle back to that because that is also a large problem too, is that it's starting from the top. It's the labels are the labels are basically in the situation where they're not paying. They don't want to pay. Or they only want to pay when you scream and holler loud enough. Or when it's time for you to get to the point where you want to do a takedown notices, that's when they want to basically come to the table and deal with things appropriately. And that's part of the reason why we've been perpetuating, we've been telling folks to copyright the music, register the songs, do all the stuff in the background so that when you have this problem with the labels, that you're in a position of power and you can negotiate and you can say, hey, either you're going to give me what I need to get, or now we're going to be in a position to sue you and take legal action.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to position themselves so that they can be in a position to take legal action because, listen, music is getting stolen. Let's not sit here and act like people's music is not getting stolen. People's music is getting used and they're not getting paid for it. This is happening a lot.
Yeah.
This is happening a lot. This is not a situation where, oh, if you release music publicly, listen, if it's any good, there's a chance of it being lifted.
But Jug, look, what we're saying stolen is not even just the artist, or you know, it's not the theft that we obviously think about. Also, it's not the I'm gonna take your beat and I'm gonna rap on it, I'm gonna put it out. It's not just that. We also talk about the labels that you got to audit, that's holding your money, that won't give it to you unless you claim it.
That's a different type of theft. They don't really consider that theft. They just say it's unclaimed royalties.
Unclaimed. It's freaking theft.
It's theft because you know that it belongs to somebody, and you guys don't proactively look for somebody to pay to.
Right. You know, you have the producer credit, but you don't have a team to go and search the social media, you know, check the last address of the producer, maybe the last check. Like there are resources there to find who you need to pay, but of course you don't want to pay. So it's theft. If I find money in the street and I know it's not mine and I hold on to it, I could get into some serious trouble.
It's theft. They're gonna say, you know what I'm saying? Not that you find us keepers, right?
Yeah, they ain't gonna say no bonders keepers. They gonna say you didn't report that. You didn't bring that in. You didn't bring that to the authorities and say you found $500,000.
I'm looking at this guy. He says producers get played. He said, I know some producers that is popping that's complaining about niggas albums that dropped months ago, and none of us got paid off.
Yeah.
Right? They said they out here touring, making millions of dollars, bro, and we're trying to beg the label to pay us measly bullshit ass fee, right? And these niggas is using the song. And some motherfuckers is producing it and getting millions. It's getting what? And getting millions of dollars a night to perform. And we got to be here scratching to survive and shit. This shit is wild.
Jug, but we've seen this actually. We've seen this for a very long time. Like, and we spoke about this. We spoke about, you know, saluting Gucci Mane when he was giving Zaytoven
the bread coming back. And
right.
Whole lot.
Right. You know, we were saluting him big on that because there were a lot of artists who was not doing that. Artists that was coming up and they got with a producer and they wasn't doubling back and saying, you know what, I got you. Instead, you see them in the strip clubs spending all of that money and the producer in the back chilling, just like, damn, I ain't get paid yet. We've seen it. We've seen it. We walked in the strip clubs with producers and know their story and know that they starving and know that they're owed money from the artist that's right there. And the artist is just bags of money throwing in at strippers. And you're just like, yeah, but your man right here who made the record for you to get this popular didn't get paid. And you didn't see that he got paid. You know, it's disgusting, man. And I can't wrap my head around the real reasoning behind it because there's so many different reasons and there's so many different levels, you know, but overall it's definitely a lack of respect. And I think that producers really need to start figuring out, you know, moving forward how they want to position themselves. You know, and I said this before. There's no more selling beats. License them. Lease them. That's it. You still owe them. So when the artist or the label and this is not even a dig on artists really, you know, but when labels want to act funny, yo, I own that. If you ain't gonna give me what I need, then I'll just take it. Come on. As a matter of fact, the deals we're gonna do is licensing. You can license this beat for a fee. And then when it reaches another sale, we relicense it. But at the end of the day, we own it. Because what you guys are doing is y'all taking the record, y'all paying crumbs if y'all pay, and then y'all go and do whatever you want and do a dumb deal like what Universal just did and remove it from a platform, and we got no say.
So at least in this situation, if you still own it, you can still you have some say so on what the hell's going to go on with your music,
right?
Versus this situation where you kind of trying to like, you know. So we've been saying this for a long time. We told these guys for a long time, stop the work for hire. Don't do any more work for hire contracts where you're selling all your rights off to your music and all of a sudden you no longer track. License your music. It should be licenses, leases. It shouldn't be nothing else outside of that because. As you need to have control over your catalog.
Yep. Because if worst case scenario, you want to put out the catalog and you got a good relationship with the artist and say, you know what, I'm going to put out a catalog with the records we've done. You'd be able to do that because I own the masters. You don't got to deal with no third-party nonsense. And when your stuff is taken down, you can say, you know, we have another outlet.
And this is why I see, like, I noticed with him, Alchemist, and a few others, these guys are dealing with a small subset of artists. And I know it's because of this. It's because they're not getting paid.
Well, that's what Hit Boy just actually said that though. Like, you know, certain artists they just not rocking with. They're just gonna rock with a certain, you know, amount of artists,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And that's it. And the ones that are reciprocating the situation, and then also what I'm noticing too, and we've been saying this before, is that artists need producers themselves need to be also become artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
You said that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way that you mitigate a lot of this bullshit.
Yep.
It's almost ridiculous at this point, where it's like, okay, you guys don't have any respect for the producers. Like, what you're supposed to realize and look around and say, okay, look how many guys come and go. Like, they come and they go. And the reason why a lot of these artists come and they go is because there's no consistency in their production. You can you can look, you can go back 20 years. The artists who are able to make album 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are the artists that have consistent producers.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You're not gonna get that far if you don't have a consistent producer. Trust me. Your sound is gonna change. When your sound changes, your fans are gonna say you fell off.
Yep.
Watching it in real time with a lot of these new artists that's coming, it's gonna fall off because you cannot. The situation with producers that really know what's going on is producers know how to slowly drive and evolve and change the sound. Like, that's how most producers know how to operate. Whether you're, but I'm gonna tell you, like, these guys going around jumping from this guy to this guy to this guy to this guy. You're gonna get all your music from online and YouTube type beats. Good luck.
You got no identity. Like, who are you? Like, who are you?
You're gonna sound like everybody else, and you're not gonna be able to stand out in this already oversaturated and flooded situation. But I agree with Hit Boy and these guys. What they need to start doing is start pulling back. Start pulling back. You know, start pulling back and making sure that, you know, that the music that they have is going to go to who's going to be able to really appreciate their situation.
And
start suing these labels, man.
Sue these labels and start changing the type of deals you do. You know, not, you know, don't be just called a producer. When you do these deals, do them as an artist. Yep. You know, an artist with production value to it. You know, because, you know, once they hand you a producer agreement, you know, it's like the bottom of the barrel of contracts. You know, it's like, you know, when it's an artist deal, okay, he's like top show, but when it comes to, oh, you're a producer here. And it's funny because we've been in deals where it was a producer arrangement, and then, or they thought it was a producer arrangement. And then when we said, oh no, we're artists, the tone changed. The verbiage in the contract changed. Certain things opened up. You know, the conversation was different. When you're dealing with a producer or you're dealing with an artist that has their own entity, their own company, and you're dealing with the company. You're not dealing with just Mike. You're not dealing just Colin. You're dealing with Arkatech Beatz LLC. It's a company. You know, the same way you're a company, Sony, the same way Warner, you're a company. We are a company, and you're gonna deal with this as such. And that's the stance you gotta take. But you have to position yourself. You have to set up your infrastructure so that you're able to make those deals and be able to communicate with them in that manner. Because if not, they're just gonna say, oh, they're gonna deal with you however they want to deal with you.
Crazy, bro. I'm just watching this thing in real time. I'm looking at this. I'm so glad that he decided to put out a big hit, and yeah. I'm just glad that he has control over that. Like, I'm just glad to see what he's doing, because it's something that you and I, people ask about us a lot of time, like, yo, you guys was doing such and such and such and such, and doing all these things, and they say, well, you fell back a little bit. It's because of this type of shit.
Yeah.
It's because of the disrespect. It's because this guy got a hot 30 seconds going, and they think that they know everything. Okay, you try to help their situation come along. Can't get their situation to move anymore because they think that it's gonna last like this. But you can say, hey, listen, you gotta evolve your sound a little bit. People ain't paying attention.
And Jug, man, like, let's talk also about the current state of hip hop. How mid it is right now. How uninspiring. There's no direction. You can't tell what coast is what coast. You can't tell who is from where anymore. There's no identity. There's no like bars. There's no content. There's no thought-provoking. I mean, it is there, but it's just you really gotta dig and find it. And man, it's frustrating as a creative person because we creative people, we also we kind of feed each other. You know what I'm saying? We inspire each other. We push each other. You hear something from someone that's hot and you're like, oh, I'm gonna beat that, or I'm gonna do this. And then you go back and forth and they say what? Steel sharpens steel, right? On a production level, on an artist level, on a lyricism, but art, whatever it is. And there is just not enough creativity right now. There's just not enough thoughts being put in the project. It's just getting on the mic and just saying whatever comes to your head without putting no thought to it. It's grabbing a sample pack and just grabbing this, that, and third, and just throwing it together, and that's it. There are so many sample packs, so many resources right now for music. There's no reason why there should be whack beats. Like, you should not be able to go to your favorite artist and have an album full of just fillers and mids. There's just way too much resources. There's way too much sound packs. There's way too much producers. There's way too much advancement in technology, even if you want to use AI. It's just so much tools you can do. Like, it is incredible. But we still have records that just sound like, eh. We still have artists that are not pushing the envelope, not being creative, getting in the booth without a notepad and just saying whatever's on the top of their head and going with that. Like, that's okay. I think a lot of these artists don't respect the craft, man, at all. Like, this is a lick for them. It's a quick scheme. Get some money, come up. But they don't know nothing about hip hop, how it was created. And then it shows.
I'm tired of it. I ain't gonna hold you. I've been hitting you in the background, and I said, listen, this guy's album. I've been saying this shit. Weak albums, weak attempts at stuff, even from people who are big name producers. Shit is mid.
Yeah, they don't get a pass either.
Yeah, they're not pushing the envelope at all. What is supposed to happen is like, and I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me coming up, there used to be songs that got produced by certain producers that you would be like, my God, you're like, how do I compete with that? Like, if you're not feeling like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like he didn't push the envelope. How did he create this? How did he do that? Like, how did he get it to sound that way? If we're not feeling like this, that means that it ain't evolving. We're not pushing the envelope. Like, we're supposed to feel pressed when somebody come out with something that's hot. Like, oh, I got to go back to the lab. I got to deconstruct that.
That's how it used to be, though. That's definitely how it used to be. It used to be like that on a production level and an artistic level. Like,
it's just not there anymore, bro. It's like there's no fire in it. And a lot of it could be because, you know, people have sucked out the ROI, meaning like, there used to be a time where music would be profitable by itself. And I think because we've invented all of these different things, people are like, it's not really that profitable, so I don't really have to put that much effort into it. Right? I'm gonna make my money elsewhere, like maybe a tour or something else, but not the health. So a lot of these guys are just kind of like, we'll put out whatever off based off our name, and then we'll make the money, doing features or something else, but not necessarily merch, whatever, but not necessarily because the music is actually selling itself. What I start to realize is that when you have situations like what's going on with the UMG and TikTok situation, the labels are cannibalizing the ability to earn money. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, wait a second, if you guys are banning this stuff off social media, if you guys have situations where a person can't repost content, say for example, I wanted to repost a new video from Snoop Dogg or whatever on Facebook because I like the song, I can't repost it because it's content or copyright restriction. Like, how did we promote it? Like, how does this record get promoted organically if you and I can't repost it as fans? So something is broken in this model right now, and this is probably what's destroying the music industry from the inside out. I think YouTube is the only one that has the ability to allow you to repost it and then make the person who owns it, gain the revenue. But I don't think anybody else is taking on that same situation. I think they're just restricting it or blocking the content from being posted versus just take the income that's going to be generated from the content, if any, and drive it back to the artist or drive it back to the label. Like, this is where you can get back organic promotion again, and this is where songs can have more legs. But I don't see them doing that anymore like that. So it's a whole lot going on. What I want people to know outside is, pay your producers, man. This is not going to be the last time I'm saying this. It's like, pay your producers. If your producer is literally your partner in your career. If you don't realize that, you're supposed to realize that's why a song is split the way it's split. That producer is literally a partner in your situation, and you're supposed to treat them as such. Unless you got beef or something, whatever, that's a different situation. This is a partner in your career. This is the person that's providing the support or the foundation of your music. The beat is the foundation of your music. The music is the foundation of your song. So,
yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, you guys got to do better, man. And you guys are out on social media showing us that you got the money. That's really what's the most disrespectful part of it, is that you're showing us that you have the money. You just don't want to get it shit up. So I'm not on that type of time, man. And people gonna say whatever they're gonna say when they see me. I'm like, oh, like, I'm not on that type of time. I'm not one of those guys. Like, honestly, I'm not one of those type of guys where you're gonna be able to think you're gonna be able to just do whatever you want to do to me. Like, that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? So, like, people gonna say, what you mean? Like, I'm just telling you, that's not how it works. That's not what I come from. I don't come from people taking advantage of people like that. I had to fight for it.
Yeah.
For real. Like, I don't come from that situation where you can just take advantage of me. I don't come from
that. We'll quickly walk away from a quote unquote opportunity if it looks like that we're gonna be taken advantage of. Like, fine, then nobody will get it then. Or at least not you. We give the same record to somebody else.
It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. Make sure that you're checking us out on all platforms. These episodes are brought to you, of course, by the books. Just keep the lights on. I hope people are realizing, everybody that's been able to do that. I want to give a shout out to everybody who has downloaded the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration. We have over 10,000 downloads on that. So that has been a great success and a great help to a lot of people. Right? Make sure you get in the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights. You got to protect your music out here. It's very, very serious. You got to protect your joints, because that's the first line of defense against theft, is making sure that your music is appropriately copyrighted. Also, the Musician's Guide to Music Publishing And then the ultimate guide to forming your own music LLC, you got to make sure that you have these things in place so that you become an organization or solopreneur. You want to make sure that you have these things in place so that people can respect what you're doing and that you can handle your business appropriately. Before we get out of here, Most Def had to walk back his statements, his hateful statements on Drake.
What
He had to walk that back and had to apologize.
What he said?
He
apologized?
Listen, I don't have the exact. I caught some clips of it, but he said he reached out to Drake's people, something like that, tried to kind of get clarify himself a situation. But no, brother, you was being hateful. That you was being funny. You didn't think that you thought you could say it and get away with it. And
try to smooth things over before that picture came out with him in the dress and the dragon boots. He knew that was coming, huh?
Look here, bro. I listen. I love your work as Most Def, what you did. I love your work. The Reflection Eternal and all of that. Miss Fat Booty and all of that. Like, I love it. But the reality of the situation is that Drake is going to be a cultural icon. Sorry. You got to treat him as such. Sorry. It may not be the hip hop that you do, but to say that he's not hip hop is egregious.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Just doesn't make sense, bro. Like, don't do that.
And to be honest, and I always hate to say this, but Drake has done a lot for the advancement of the culture.
Thank you. And that's what people don't want to say. They don't want to give the man the credit for that he can actually be promoting the culture. It's the same thing with Eminem, that, say what you want to say about it, but these guys are responsible for helping to get the culture a little bit broader, getting it into more places across the world. You don't understand that this creates an infrastructure and an ecosystem that predominantly African Americans get to eat off of.
Right. Right.
So you need a Drake. You need these artists that help to give it more longevity. I don't understand what you guys are thinking.
Especially when you're an artist that does not want to do that, but you still want some of these opportunities.
Right.
You want to be able to capitalize off of certain opportunities, but at the same time be like, okay, but I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. So let them do it. Let them do it. Let them do the Target commercials. Let them do the elevator music. But what happens is it broadens the reach of hip hop and all the subgenres of hip hop. It broadens the reach so that and it gets to places, it gets to people, and it gets to companies and corporations that are creating certain deals and opening certain doors, certain sponsorships, certain just certain opportunities that come back to us. There's certain people who got jobs because of hip hop, and it's because there's money in hip hop. But in order to do that, it had to reach a certain level. It had to reach a certain place. It can't stay backpack. It can't stay just dusty. It can't stay underground.
Can't stay backpack and dusty. I like how you put backpack and dusty in the same box. Like, it gotta be backpack and gotta put dusty and put them shits together to make one, dusty backpack. Listen, I love aggressive music, man. I want people to understand that this is the cloth that I'm cut from. But you have to respect good music. Like, this is the reality of the situation. Cat is putting out good music. Songs is good, bro. Like, you gotta give it what you gotta give it. Stop being a hater.
Can't be one directional. It can't be one directional. Like,
listen, you can't be a hater.
It doesn't make sense.
And I want to pivot now, right? Because when you was under the weather when I was doing the whole Megan Thee Stallion Hiss versus Nicki's Bigfoot. And yo, you after listening to these records, and Nicki had a big splash because people say, "Oh, they got streamed." But what you think about this record, bro?
To be honest with you, I didn't listen to him. I ain't don't listen to them chicks. Chicks crying.
He's not listening to it. He said he used to be good on it.
Not interested.
Listen, when you get a chance.
The only thing I know, Megan, they're saying that she said a pretty dope bar about the sexual
the Megan's Law.
That was dope.
Slick.
That is a dope, slick ass line.
Slick. I think
what I respect about that line is just that you could tell you put some thought into that. Like, I don't know if she wrote it herself or she got help with that lyric, but put some thought in your rhymes. And to see Nicki all over social media and complaining and streaming, complaining, she here, she there, she complaining, saying she got 5 more records and this and that and the third, and it's just like, yo, how you got time for this? Like, shouldn't you be on tour? Like, shouldn't you be like?
I listen. I think for Nicki, that you have a lot of people that's behind the scenes trying to cut her legs off. Well, I feel like there's a lot of people behind the scenes don't like her personally.
Yeah.
And there's a concerted effort to remove her from the top of the pile.
Yeah, there is.
And I keep seeing it, and that's over and over, like, there's an attack on her. And I'm like, okay. So now she's responding in a certain kind of way that for a lot of us is not really unbecoming, you know what I'm saying? We look at it and we feel like, she should a little bit more. You say she's the queen of it right now, where things should not bother you the way that they're bothered. She's human, and I think as a human being, I think you can after a while of being attacked and snubbed and all kind of things happening behind the scenes.
I mean,
you're gonna react a certain type of way. Family being attacked, this type of situation. From a music standpoint, I didn't like her diss. From a music standpoint, I think that lyrically she's superior to any artist out here right now. But I think what she did with this record, the beat and everything, doesn't it's not an ether moment to me. I think she had the opportunity to give us an ether moment, but I don't think it's an ether moment. Stallion, if she's smart, she should not even respond. I think she has the better record right now. She shouldn't. And I don't think she should respond to the situation anymore. She should start to carve out her niche. Make sure that she has her Stallion fans, whatever she want to call them, and out off into the sunset. She should engage in this stuff anymore.
I don't care.
I know you don't. I don't give a fuck. Like this is that other type shit. I don't really give a fuck about. But look, be giving the ladies the platform, and they cannibalize each other. We don't want them to do it like how the guys is doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I really don't care for it. But it is what it is. It's like, they can't seem to coexist. They seem like they're pitting each other against each other. It's Lotto now against, you told me earlier, Ice Spice. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, these girls would be a lot more powerful if they were able to put aside them differences.
Yeah.
Show that sisterhood like they always talking.
Yeah, like look at what the fellas did and what worked and what didn't work, and use that as sort of a blueprint. Like, don't start from the bottom, like start from where they left off, and
I agree with that. I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to how Jay-Z and Nas was able to mend their situation, and that was a terrible beef.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was real terrible.
Yeah.
And even with Meek Mill and Drake, you know, that was terrible too. But these guys were able to mend it.
It went off the rails, and even Jay-Z had a bad moment when he went off and did was it the Super Ugly?
Super Ugly, yeah.
And everybody was like, you know, even his moms was just like, this not it. Don't, you know, you went the deep end. You're saying things you should not be saying, and you're responding. You're responding out of anger and embarrassment. You're not being thoughtful. You're not being creative. You're just being angry, and I think that's where Nicki's at right now. I think she's just being angry and frustrated, and I guess she's not getting the props or respect that she feels she deserves, and you know, she's lashing out, and while you're lashing out, you could end up looking crazy and saying some things that you cannot take back. You know, talking about, you know, her dead moms and everything. Yeah, that's just below you. You know, that's below you as an artist, below you as a person. You know, and there's just certain lines you should not cross, and that's just disgusting. You know, a lot of people already feel that throughout the years, Nicki has been very rude, disrespectful, very difficult to work with. So she already has that tag on her. She's already has that stigma on her. You know, and for her to jump out the window and say stuff like that, it's just like, it's not classy. You know, for her, her best approach should have just take her time. You know, she didn't even need to respond to it right away. And it's one of the things, and that's one of the things that I respect about Jay-Z, is Jay-Z could hear a diss that you did two years ago, and he'll wait it out. He'll wait it out. He'll wait it out for a long ass time, and then address it when he finally puts out a project. And you're like, oh, where did that come from? And it's thoughtful and it's creative.
She tried to capitalize off the Pink Friday 2 release. You think that's part of the reason why she decided to do that now? Because the album is out now and it's doing numbers now? Because she could just add the song to it, right? And that would help to move the song, help to move the album even more.
What's the rush? When are you gonna put out trash? What's the rush? And it goes back to what I'm saying about the state of hip hop. It is, take your time and create something. What's the rush? Are you running into the booth and just saying anything on your mind? Take the time, sit down with a pen and pad, write something, find the right beat. Like take your time and make the right record. What the hell is this rush? This microwave era of just getting in the booth, saying the dumbest shit, anything that comes to your mind, putting it on a record and putting it out the next day. There's no checks and balances. There's no quality control. And that's what's missing in hip hop. There's no gatekeeper saying, no, that ain't it. You know, take your time, write it, hit it again. It don't sound right. Go back in, hit it again. Dr. Dre would make Kendrick Lamar go back in, or The Game, go back in and do it again. Say it again. Do it like this. Slur that word. Say it like that. The artists that we were working with, when they, hey, what do you think? That's cool. That's not. Maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that. Take your time and create your music properly. You got millions of people listening. We got millions of people waiting for your response. You got fans depending and expecting quality from you. And then you come out with some bullshit. That shit pisses me off every day. Like, you have the talent, the time, the resources, the funding, and you put out bullshit. And this is for every artist that has a major deal, that has the time, the resources, the money, the connections. Get yourself a good producer. Get yourself an A&R to come in and tell you yes or no. Surround yourself with some quality people, some quality work. Spend time. Get a fucking note and a pad. Get a pen. Spend the time to write. Like, don't always be quick to jump in the booth. Spend time writing. Say, you know what? I'm going to use this word. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to flow like this. I'm going to say it like that. I'm going to drag this word. I'm going to double up on this word. I'm going to make my hook like this. Or I'm going to call somebody in to help me with this hook. And take time crafting your records. And then when you're ready, get in the booth and do something. All this off the top of the head bullshit, that's what we're hearing right now. And that's why we understand the hip-hop way it is. And this shit is fucked up.
Remember, they take that off the top of the head as creativity.
That shit ain't creativity. Because anybody could go into a booth and just say anything. Now, there are some rare people that can get it off and get it done right. There's some rare people that can do that. But that ain't for everyone. And everybody don't need to be following that. know yourself, know your craft, and put out better music. That's all I gotta say on that.
All Mike D got. Mike D has spoken here. Said, tired of the trash. Tired of the trash. I'm just tired of. I just don't got the energy to talk on it. Like, yo, this shit is just retarded right now. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man.
Say some thoughtful shit. Say some thoughtful shit.
Like the joint.
I like see J. Cole has been saying some shit that I'm like, yo, this motherfucker is thinking. He is saying some things. He is like there's some records that I'm listening to from him, and I'm actually listening to the words and how he's put it together and why he chose that word, because it rhymes, not just rhymes with this word or rhyme with the next word, because the meaning is a double entendre or a triple entendre. And he's doing that because Drake before him did it like this. So like, you gotta, like, if you want to be great in this game on a lyrical, you gotta, your pen game gotta be nice. And we gotta get back to that. We gotta get back to, no, they want to
be great. Yeah.
Your pen game needs to be nice. You can't be coming out with a 6th grade education and expecting that it ain't gonna work. Maybe some of these artists need to go back to school.
Oof. Damn.
Learn something. Get your vocabulary up. And then and be able to write a decent bar that means something. Man,
tell him why you mad, son. Today, tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad.
Today, man.
Listen. The Arkatech Beatz. This is podcast, yo. Yo, just make sure y'all following. And again, man, if you haven't, new Beatz is out. Let's put that out there. New Beatz is out. We, our Beatz store got new tracks out. We're putting out new tracks crazy right now. Make sure you're checking those out. Also, let's jump on that. Let's talk about that Hip Hop Kids NFT project real quick. That's moving along right now.
Oh yeah.
So let's let the people know about that. And then
Arkatech Beatz presents Hip Hop Kids NFT. You could go to OpenSea.io, log in to OpenSea, and search for Hip Hop Kids with a Z NFT, and you get to our page, and it's a bunch of NFTs of hip hop kids, cartoon based hip hop kids, real cool collector's item, nice art, and embedded in the art is an exclusive track. So each NFT not only is its own art, but its own track, and you get yourself one, and also it not just represents hip hop, but it also represents us as a culture. There's a lot of things that we're going to be doing with these NFTs also, giveaways and merch, being able to speak directly with us, advice, mentorships, just a lot of different things that we're going to be using with it. So, check it out and cop something that talks to you, that you feel represents you. We got different types of records. So, scroll through, find something you like. We're dropping maybe like 5 at a time, and so that we can really know who's purchasing and spend the time and getting to know the individuals, So hit us up on Twitter. If you want more information, hit us up on Twitter, and, we'll definitely chop it up.
That's what's up. Hip Hop Kids. FT. Checking that out. Yo, I'm making the whack music, man. Pay our producer. Until next time.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.